Well, I got my case 310B in the garage. Now that I got it cleaned up enough to get it in here. Still got a lot of work to do. Both of those tires, the rear tires, I patched up the tubes and both of them are flat. So I don't know if I cut the tubes when I put them in or what, but that didn't work out very well. I have all the parts for this kingpin here. I just got to get it done. And then of course reassemble all the tin work. But I thought I'd just give you guys a little quick treat. Well, there you have it. It'll start. So, next thing to do is get the fuel tank on, carb cleaned out, and get some oil in the transmission and get it to run. And then we'll see, I gotta do clutch linkage, fix those tires, put all the tin work on, and then do that kingpin, and then at some point I'll be doing the getting the loader mounted. But that's that. Hey viewers, I think the last time I shot a video it was I was working on my GMC after I burned up the transmission. Got it finished, got the manual transmission put in it. I'll shoot some videos once I get the custom shifter boot done, because I didn't want to spend $60 on a rubber boot when I didn't really like them all that well anyway. But I still have a rear drive shaft seal leak. I'm going to have to get a wear sleeve and put it in there. But anyway, sort of onward and upward, I brought my case 310B in. I think it's about a 53 vintage. Sorry for the noise, I've got the pellet stove running. It's pretty chilly in today, but outside, so got her nice and toasty now. But so I had it running just on a jerry can, and I haven't rebuilt the carburetor yet, but I got it running well enough to just run it around and see how it worked. And rear brake seal was leaking. That one's on order. It's just barely leaking. I just decided to go ahead and tear it apart and replace it while I was in here. But this one was leaking pretty bad, so I had to replace it. And I should have just ordered two at that time, but actually I did order two at that time, but I ruined one putting one in, so I had to get another one. But when I was out test running it, before I put all the sheet metal back on, the clutch was acting really goofy, and turns out when I first got her going, the clutch was throw-out rod. It connects right here, runs, yeah, if you can see it, runs to this hole, comes out, and there's a spring right there, sticks through there, and it actuates the throw-out fork here to engage the bearing into the clutch fingers. Well, when I got this tractor, it was split already. And for those of you who don't know what that means, this is split. Typically what you have to do when you replace a clutch, you split the tractor. So it was split, and they had lost the pressure plate. So I had to get a new one, but as classic tractors go, the original type was not available. So what I ended up with was one that was reasonably close. It's actually, I think this one's for a 300B, but it's very close, but it's not identical. The throw-out forks, or the throw-out spoons here, are in farther than the original, and they stuck out a little more, or so I've gathered, the way I've looked, the way things are going here. And I could always just upgrade the springs and make it stick out a little bit farther, but I'm not going to, because I I don't see myself doing a lot of pulling, hard pulling with this thing. It's not a very big engine anyway, so it'll do loader work, but we'll see how it goes, I guess. If I have to put a new disc in it in a couple of years, then I'll put bigger springs in it, but I don't imagine it's going to be an issue. It's got pretty light clutch pedal pressure, which is what made me think about putting new springs, bigger springs in it, but I'm not going to do that right now. It's not that hard to split. I'll bet you I could do it even with the fuel tank. Fuel tank goes in right here, in this cradle, and sits right here, and the hood, of course, goes across it. But even with those on there, I'll bet you I could have it split in a half an hour. I mean, it's really easy. So maybe 45 minutes, I can have it split and get to the clutch. So as long as it works well enough to putter it around and get the loader taken off, then I can get it split real easy, no big deal. Where was I going with this? Oh, so the clutch throwout rod was sticking out here too far, and so it came around and schmucked all these little these are the pressure plate return springs. Basically what they do is they put some pressure on these the release spoons to pull the disc back. Am I saying that right? Yes. When you release the clutch, basically when you step on the pedal, you'll be pushing down on these, pushing them in, which will take the spring pressure off of this, because this is a cantilever here, and it's actually bearing down on the plate right with this bolt right here. But when you do that, you actuate the cantilever and you compress that spring. It takes the weight off of this bolt, and then this plate basically would float in there were it not for these spring clips. Pull it back away so it doesn't drag on the flywheel. Well, that rod was sticking in here too far, and it schmucked all these off, so I had to split it and put them all back on. But that was a blessing in disguise anyway. You can kind of see all the little marks where they were bouncing around like a pinball in there. Maybe you can, if it'll focus, you might be able to see them. See all the little dots there. But that turned out to be a blessing anyway, because I didn't realize this inner drive shaft seal was leaking. I must have tore it when I put it in, when I installed it, but I made sure not to do that this time. But it was leaking like a sieve, so it was only a matter of time before I would have had to split it again anyway. And this throwout bearing is not the original type. It's a little bit different also. And what was happening was it was spinning on the shaft, which is clearly not supposed to do, so it kind of galled this up a little bit. It didn't really gall the shaft that it sits on. It sits right here. It didn't really gall that up any, but I went ahead and welded some stops on there, so when it slides on, it goes on basically just like this, and you'll see those things fit in there so that it can't turn. It'll just hit the release fork, which is what this little nub was intended to do before it got ground off while it was spinning around at Mach 1 in there. So that'll work a lot better for that. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall that main shaft pilot. It goes right there with seals and all. And then I'll get the throwout bearing set in there, and then we'll get her rolled back together. Okay, we got the tack and hydraulic pump drive installed, the pilot and all of that crap. And throwout bearing, there's the rod, actuator rod. I actually trimmed it down shorter so I can't make that same mistake twice. Not that I would, because that's very atypical of me, but we're getting ready to roll her back together, and we'll go from there. Well, we got our sled part way together. Not very easy when you're doing this by yourself with a floor jack and a bottle jack, but one of these days I'll get better equipped. Maybe when I have an actual shop. Anyway, now it's down to the slow part of aligning the clutch and input shaft, so this will take quite a while. Well, we're getting there. I think I've been at this for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. 15 minutes probably to get this far. Looks like we're just about straight, so it ought to be popping right in here shortly. Alright, I got it. Gotta get her bolted up. Flywheel, or the starter put on. Coolant sending unit, fill it up with coolant. Oil pressure line. And I took this side plate off. That's normally where the hydraulic pump would be. So I could reach into that coupler and give her a spin, get everything lined up. We got it. Alright, I got it back together the rest of the way. Hopefully that throwout bearing is indexed the way it needs to be, and I'm going to have to shine a flashlight in there and see. Starter, coolant sender, all the wiring. Let's see. My foot fell over. Oil sender, bolt, steering shaft. Just fill her with coolant and some oil, and she'll be basically ready to test run. Alright kids, it's pretty freaking cold out. We got freeze rain. It's supposed to be snow later today. Let's see, what are we showing here? It says it's only 30. Well, it says it's 31 degrees, but pretty sure that's not accurate here, so 29 degrees. And feels like 19. It's a very high moisture out. Anyway, I got most of the tin work back onto the 310B, and I've got a short window before it really starts snowing. I got to get it turned around. Then I'm going to put set the loader on it outside because it won't fit in here to set it on, and then I'll just back it in, and then I can work on finishing putting the hydraulics on the loader and getting it working. And then once I get the loader working, all that crap mounts on right here. Then once I get the loader working, I'll pull it out, turn it back around, and pull it in here, and then I can weld up the quick attach brackets. Right now I've got the big tractor running, idle and trying to warm up, so I can go and pick the loader up. It's hidden back behind the dump truck. You can kind of see it there. I also came back with a load from the winter auction back home, and I got a Kawasaki Prairie and a flatbed, some steel, and a loader, tractor loader. I might put that on my W6 tractor once I get it running, paint it up, use it as a quick attach loader. But anyway, I got a very short window here, so I need to get going. I'll shoot some more video, I guess, when I'll cold start this tractor for you here and let it idle for a minute before I pull it out and turn it around and put the loader on. I'll get some video of that. Alright, I promised you a cold start, so I haven't checked to see if the battery's up on it. It's kind of junk, so we'll see. 45 degrees in here, so that was started without the choke.